The World to Come, available online now, new lesbian romance dressed in period clothes starring Catherine Waterston, Casey Affleck, Vanessa Kirby, and Christopher Abbott. The story takes place in mid 19th century America on the East Coast over the course of about half a year, starting in winter and then going all the way through summer. The central character and the narrator of the film is Abigail, played by Catherine Waterston. She's the wife of Casey Affleck, mother to a child that died of illness just last year, as we learned through flashbacks. Now sharing the life of hardship and difficulty. The two work a farm, but the conditions there, especially during winter, are exceptionally difficult to survive. And the work basically completely fills the days of the married couple, leaving little space for intimacy or true love. We do get the sense that maybe there has been a spark before, but after the death of the daughter, it's completely gone. And then the new neighbors arrive, a very similar pairing of a cold and distant husband and an unhappy wife. And that wife, Tally, played by Vanessa Kirby, immediately catches the attention of Abigail, and vice versa. The two of them befriend each other, spending what free time they have together, and gradually falling in love and beginning a secret relationship under the noses of their husbands. So it's a pretty good movie, I think, and there are several things I enjoyed about it. First of all, it's very well acted. Both Waterstone and Kirby are completely believable as their characters, and they contrast with each other yet have true chemistry. On the other hand, as a counterbalance to that, we have Affleck and Abbott as the tired, emotionally unavailable husbands who don't have much time to shine in the film, not as much as the ladies, but they certainly fulfill their narrative function in the movie. The sets and the costumes are very good. The cinematography has a unique style where it's really grainy and it almost makes the film look like a series of classic paintings. There are several shots in the film which you could literally just pause, frame, and hang in your room, and they really look more like paintings rather than the photographs, which I think fits the time period and the nature of the story. I also really like the score, which accentuates the calm and somehow resigned tone of the film, and it also sounds fairly original, not like it mimics music in hundreds of other movies. So in a vacuum, this would be a pretty good film. But here's the thing: movies or any art form, I think, don't exist in a vacuum. I think we should consider other pieces of art and compare them between one another, the other pieces that are out there, and doing that. I do have a complaint which may be a little weird, but bear with me. The World to Come is the third period lesbian romance in as many years, after Portrait of a Lady on Fire and then Ammonite. And admittedly, it's not as similar to the other two as they were to one another, but there certainly is a familiarity of tone and setting. All of these stories are fairly somber, despite having a truly warm romance at their heart. All of them take place in historical settings, and most importantly, all of them are set in environments that are just dreary and cold and unwelcoming. The previous two movies were set along cold and windy coastlines. This one has a large part of the story set in the middle of the winter, with everything freezing over and people as well as animals just struggling to stay alive, basically. And on the one hand, there's probably subtext here, lesbian love in a historical context, and a harsh environment seems to work against them. I kind of get that. But on the other hand, I can't help but go back to Call Me By Your Name in my mind, which is a gay film that also takes place in the past, even if it's not such a distant past in this case. And the nature of the story is very similar, but the setting couldn't be different. In here, we had Italian countryside in the middle of the summer, sun shining all the time, warm weather, swimming, cycling around, eating outside. It was just such a pleasant place to be in with the characters. And I just wonder why it seems like we can't have something similar for the lesbian movies. It just seems like they love to wallow in misery and make themselves quite depressing. And again, I kind of get that, looking at the history of, discrimination against gay people and them having to stay basically hidden. But maybe it would be nice to have a film which really cherishes those moments of happiness, which shows the beauty of love without getting too dragged down by the fragility of that love. Because again, remember Call Me By Your Name, it wasn't exactly a story that had a happy ending either. It also tapped into the sorrow and sadness, but without compromising the enjoyable moments in between, when that happiness still lasts. And I don't know, maybe it doesn't make sense, but it's just a thought. After three lesbian tragedies in a row taking place in harsh and dreary environments, I would just love to see something different, something more optimistic for a change. Until that happens, though, The World to Come is, as I mentioned, pretty solid on its own and definitely worth checking out anyway, even if it does feel slightly derivative of other recent movies.